What is going on, guys? My name is Kenji and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully it's not the first time you're watching one of my videos, but just in case it is, I'm a final year medical student and a biomedical science graduate studying King's College London. And guys, it's been a while since we've kind of sat down and had a bit of a one-to-one chat and also a reflection on how life has been going. So in this video, I really wanted to just kind of sit down, have a coffee with you guys, kind of catch you guys up on where I've been for the last few weeks, and also have a bit of a reflecting session on whether or not medical school has been worth it. I'm now a few months out from being a junior doctor for the first time ever, and kind of getting towards the end of medical school. There's lots of stuff that I kind of wanted to just sit down and reflect on with you guys. So we're starting off by talking about the last kind of few weeks of medical school, where I want to be going for the next couple of weeks, and then I'll be going into detail about a few things I've really enjoyed about medical school and a few things that I really haven't enjoyed about being in medical school. So without further ado, grab a coffee as well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So to catch you guys up on the last few weeks, around about 3 weeks ago, I finally finished off my final written exam of medical school ever. So no more written exams at all medical school, which actually feels so good. And actually a few days ago, I found out that I actually passed that exam. So a lot of stress has been taken away from me and I'm feeling a lot more chilled now, apart from my OSCE that I have in a couple of weeks time, which I'll talk to you guys about. So straight after my last written exam, I actually traveled to Kenya on the East African coast, and I went to actually spend some time with my family and also take a bit of a break from medical school, like literally no emails, no laptop, no nothing, just sitting by the beach, reading and relaxing, and that has been so much fun. In terms of where I'm going for the next couple of weeks, I'm actually back on placement now. I'm on my medical elective, and although I really would have wanted to go to somewhere like Mexico for my elective, unfortunately because of COVID, I haven't been able to do so. So I'm actually placed at a hospital in Kent again to spend a couple of weeks in interventional cardiology, which I'm super excited for. It's been a couple of weeks off from like medicine and actually practicing medicine for quite a few weeks now. So I'm really excited to get back on the wards, seeing patients and doing all this kind of medical stuff, and hopefully getting a step closer to being a doctor. Now, after my elective, I then have... What the hell?
A few moments later.
Okay, so very weirdly, the power is actually just cut out in my apartment, so I've had to kind of shuffle things around so we have some natural light from the window. But essentially, that is where I'm at, guys. I'm currently on my elective, and I'm super excited to see what that holds. And now to the rest of the video, I kind of want to just have a bit of a reflection session with you guys, and let's actually start off by what I really enjoyed about being in medical school so far. But long story short, it has been very worth it, and I'm gonna tell you guys exactly why. So the first thing that I've really enjoyed about the last 5 years of medical school is learning new skills that are important for life and also humanity. Now, sometimes I kind of forget, everything I've gone through in medical school, but we've learned so many key skills, not just like practically in terms of like putting in cannulas, taking blood and all those kind of things, but actually emotionally as well. I've grown so much as a person in medical school, really getting comfortable to communicate with different people, and that has been super key. And these are really important skills I kind of, forget sometimes, especially during the pandemic. I remember when we were at the height of the pandemic, our hospitals and medical school were actually reaching out to us and asking if we have any time available to help out in the hospital because of how overwhelmed the doctors were with all of the patients. Combined with that as well, I remember during the pandemic, the final years actually had to graduate very early in order to help all of the patients that were in the hospital. So especially during times like the pandemic, I've really realized how much I've learned in the last few years, things that are really important for life. And there's actually been a number of occasions where I've been on the streets, traveling around the world, and have actually been able to help people and make a difference. There's been countless times where I've been on buses or just taking a walk and someone collapses, and I've been there to actually provide some support until the ambulance get there. And when the ambulance actually got there, I continued to help them out. And that was actually a real story that happened. I'll leave a link up here so you guys can go check out that story. And even during the earlier years of medical school, when I didn't really know as much medicine as I do now, just being someone who can stop things from getting worse or to stop kind of the lay population from making a bad mistake on a patient who needs me in the public has also been a really important thing. So if you're in medical school, whether you're a first year, second year or a final year, no matter where you are in medical school, just know that you can make a difference. Even if you're in your second year or first year, once you've actually done basic life support and you've learned a few skills here and there, you can actually make a difference and to change people's lives. And that has been an incredible feeling to feel throughout the 5 years of medical school. So that's the first point. Now, the next thing that I really enjoyed about medical school is having all the free time to travel, to learn more about the world, learn more about myself, and and also develop my character. Now, throughout medical school, there's been points in the year where I've had up to 2, sometimes 3 months of free time throughout summer, and also it's just scattered throughout the year. So to give you guys a key example of where I really enjoyed my life and developed my character is when I actually took the opportunity to fly all the way to Taiwan to do a kind of mini like laboratory attachment over there. And I lived in Taiwan for a whole entire month, you know, by myself, completely out of my comfort zone. I met a bunch of amazing people who I never would have been able to meet had I have stayed in my circle in London. So being able to do like little trips like that around the world has given me a huge opportunity to actually better my character. And that's like in contrast to, let's say, if I just took a job at 18 and I did a 9-to-5 job and stayed within my circle, within my bubble. Medical school has really allowed me to get out of my comfort zone, not just like in terms of traveling around the world, but also in my local hospital, you know, meeting people that you never ever meet on the street had I done any other sort of career. So for example, is wherever in your life would you meet a person who is addicted to heroin and is maybe recovering from their addiction? Where else in your life and in what other career would you actually meet someone who has just attempted to commit suicide, to take away their own life, and you being able to be someone who can support them, who can give them some comfort and actually, you know, talk to them? These are really rare circumstances that you never ever would experience in any other field in the entire world. So I've really enjoyed the opportunity to not only meet people around the whole entire world, but also at my local hospital to meet these people who are in need and really, you know, experience what life is actually like outside of the normal kind of, you know, life that the majority of people live. So it's really been amazing to be in that unique, you know, kind of situation to better myself, to better my character. And now being 26 years old, I've had, you know, 8 years since being 18 to actually spend time developing my personality and all aspects around that. So that's been really, really amazing. And I definitely don't take it for granted. Now, the third point that I've really enjoyed about medical school, it's kind of related to the last point, but it's just an additional kind of opportunity to meet new people. Now, when I was 18 years old, if I went into a typical 9-to-5 job, again, I may not have been exposed to the, you know, the ability to meet all of these people, not just in the hospital like I just described, but also actually in medical school, meeting new people. Every kind of 2 months or so, I've had to rotate around different specialties, and that means being exposed to another group of medical students who I may not have ever known, you know, in the last 5 years. I've also had to live with different people. So on my clinical placements, in terms of like having to move accommodations all the time, I've actually had to live with completely new people. And again, that is a way to get out of my comfort zone and also to develop my character even more. Of course, there is a bit of a downside to that, which is that it's a bit more difficult to maintain like long-term relationships because you're constantly changing to different groups. That is a slight downside, but the positive side is that I've had a new experience and new ability to meet new people that I never would have had I have gone into a 9-to-5 job or just stayed in science in my last degree. That's been amazing. Okay, so the final thing that I've really enjoyed about being in medical school is having certainty for my job for the rest of my life. Now, that's actually a super lucky thing to have as a medical student. Like, although for the last 5 years I've been in medical school and I've been spending money obviously by living, even when I'm traveling and even when I'm like on a beach on the outside of the world relaxing, I know with full certainty that if I just pass all of my medical school exams, I will have a guaranteed job and guaranteed career that I love and adore for the rest of my life. And that's actually super, super lucky. A lot of my friends in my last degree in biomedical science who have graduated now have had a bit of career anxiety, and it's kind of around this stage in life when you're 25, 26 years old, that sort of career anxiety can be actually really tough to live with and can be really, really scary to live with. And that really makes me so grateful to be in a career that I know that I'll have stability in. Like, of course, I may not live in the same city or work at the same hospital for the next couple of years, but at least I have certainty in a salary, which is a pretty decent salary, and also a job and career. And that's super, super lucky to have, and that is one thing that I've not taken for granted at all. And that's what I've really enjoyed about medical school so far. Let's actually talk about the things that I haven't liked as much whilst being in medical school. So I want to take a quick break, guys, to tell you about an amazing service that I've been using, which is Skillshare, who are also kindly sponsoring this video. If you guys haven't heard of Skillshare on my channel yet, they're an online learning platform and community for learning new skills. They have a ton of classes on there, literally any sort of thing you can imagine, from baking to cooking to learning how to study for exams to filmmaking. literally any skill that you want to learn in life, you can actually watch on Skillshare. I actually love Skillshare so much that I made my own classes on there, and I've actually made 2 classes that you can watch entirely for free right now. The first class I made on Skillshare is all about how to write a first-class essay. So if you're in university or in school and you want to learn how to write a very good essay, I take you through the entire essay writing process to actually get the highest mark you can get in your university or in your schoolwork as well. The second class I made on Skillshare is all about how to get into medical school. So it's a whole entire masterclass I made that will take you from day one of the medicine application all the way to getting your offer at a university and medical school that you want to go to. So if you want to be a doctor and learn how to get into medical school, then definitely go check out my class on Skillshare. One class that I've really enjoyed on Skillshare recently is the fundamentals of Lightroom. The reason why I like this class is that it's been so good in upping my photo editing game. So as a content creator, I obviously have to pay a lot of attention on how I edit my photos to try and put out the best photos for you guys over on my Instagram and across all my social media platforms. So that is a class that I highly recommend you guys check out. If you want to watch that class and also all of my classes on Skillshare, then the first 1,000 people who click the link down below will get a free trial to Skillshare, and I highly recommend you guys at least sign up for the free trial, watch my videos, watch the Lightroom class as well, completely for free. And if you don't like Skillshare and you change your mind, that's completely fine. Just cancel the subscription. But if you do actually find value in Skillshare, like I definitely have, then you can actually sign up for the whole entire thing. But that's Skillshare. Let's get back to the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing that I haven't really enjoyed that much about medical school, looking back on my time, it definitely has felt very long and like it has dragged out quite a bit. When I look back in my memory to the time when I first joined medical school, when I was only 21 years old, and now being 26 years old, it has been a huge amount of time. So much has changed from then. Like literally the Kenji who walked into medical school at 21 years old is completely different to who I am now. And so much has changed along that time. So 5 years definitely does not seem like insignificant. And although I've loved the journey of being in medical school, there has definitely been points, especially like even now where I am now, where I've kind of felt a bit uneasy. Like there's been so many times where I've been like, I've done cardiology so many times, like I get it now. As a junior doctor, you know, I need to know these sorts of, you know, diseases. I get it now. Can I just move on to the next thing? That has definitely happened to me quite a few times recently, particularly in my final year of medical school. And I have to keep reminding myself that there is no rush in life, that I'm so close to being a doctor, and I really should take the time now, you know, enjoying being a student where I can sleep in if I want to, you know, I can take breaks here and there, and constantly reminding myself that when I'm a junior doctor, my time won't be mine anymore. I will have to show up at the hospital at 8 a.m. and finish at 7 p.m. I will have to do 12 or 13-hour shifts, you know, regardless of whether I want to, and I'll only have maybe, you know, 27 days a year to take, you know, on vacation. Now I have to constantly remind myself that so I can appreciate every single day that I have in medical school, because very, very soon this whole entire journey will be over and things will be very, very different. But that is the first kind of thing that I haven't really enjoyed about being in medical school so far. The next thing that I'd like to reflect on and tell you guys about is that during this whole entire medical school process is that it's kind of been a bit weird and a bit sad to feel like I'm almost behind my peers who are the same age as me and constantly being treated like a student by pretty much everyone. I know that's a bit of a thing that's, you know, in my head, and I really am trying to get outside of that mindset, but I definitely do sometimes feel like my peers who, you know, maybe started work at 18 or 21 after they finished their first degree, I definitely do feel a little bit behind them. Being 26 right now, there are a lot of things that are very, very different between me and my peers. For example, I'm still living in student accommodation. I'm still not earning a salary yet. I still can't get a mortgage or, you know, even put down any money to rent out a flat by myself. I'm only just about to start my first, you know, career ever and only starting the kind of real world of working. And I definitely am, you know, trying not to compare myself at all, but just being, you know, honest with you guys, you know, one-to-one. That's definitely something that I have felt in the last couple of years. As well as that, also being treated like a student constantly, it hasn't been the greatest feeling. Like, it is great to be a student, but sometimes I also want to be treated like an adult as well. So for example, if I want to take my mom out for dinner and I want to treat her and I get my wallet out to pay, you know, she'll straight away cut me and be like, no, Kenji, I'm paying for this. You know, you're still a student, you're still not earning money, let me pay for this. And, you know, sometimes you just want to take your mom out for a dinner or for a drink and be able to pay with the money that you've earned working hard on your job. That's just a bit of a, arbitrary, like, silly example, but definitely, being treated like a student at my 26-year-old age has been a bit weird. Again, it's not something that I'm complaining about. I still am really enjoying being a student and getting all the student discounts and stuff like that, but it's definitely something that has been on my mind recently. The next thing, looking back on my time in medical school, that I haven't really enjoyed as much, particularly in this last final year of medical school, is living the student life for 8 whole years. Now, being a student again is amazing, and I've been a student now for like literally 8 years. The first 4 or 5 years was absolutely amazing. I really loved it, but now being 26 years old, it is still a little bit strange still living in student accommodation. Like I said already, it's still a little bit strange not having my own apartment or somewhere where I can live. When people inevitably ask me what I do and I tell them I'm still a student, it is still a little bit strange. And although I've loved being a student, it definitely has been a little bit unusual being a student for such a long time. And I guess that's kind of a good thing. I guess that's kind of how I'm supposed to feel right now. If I reached the end of medical school and I was like, damn, I'm really going to miss being a student, I wish I had another 5 or 10 years being a student, then there definitely would be something, not right in terms of how I'm thinking or how I'm feeling. So the fact that I feel like I'm coming towards the end of education, the fact that I'm actually really looking forward to starting work, to getting my own place to live, to being able to afford, nicer things, to being able to, pay for my mum's dinner and stuff like that, I guess that's kind of a good place to be in. And having spoken to my friends who are in similar situations in life as well, it kind of feels right that I'm ready to move on to the next thing, which is being and working as a doctor. And the last thing that I haven't enjoyed as much being in medical school is not having a proper job until now, my age of being 26 years old. I know 26 years old sounds really, really young. I do apologize if you're older than me. I know it's still such a young age, but definitely not having a proper job until now can present some difficulties. Having a secure job means that you can do certain things. It means that you can actually save up money and look forward to the future. It means you can go on holidays with your friends and be able to be like, yes, I definitely can afford, the flights and the accommodation and all those things. You can also finance a car if you want to. You can get a mortgage on a house. And you also don't really have to worry about the financial things in life. Can I pay for my tuition fee this year? Will I have enough money to last me till the end of the year? Having a job has a lot of benefits that you don't really get when you're a student. So I'm really looking forward to my first paycheck, to the day where I can actually be like, I know for a fact that in my bank account I'll have X amount of money. I know for a fact that I can go and rent an apartment and be able to pay for my bills without having to live in student accommodation. Having a job is actually super, super powerful. Having a contract with an employer is really, really powerful, and that's something I'm definitely looking forward to having in a couple of months' time. And that is pretty much the whole entire video, guys. It's actually been really, really good just sitting down and reflecting on my entire medical school experience with you all. I really want to do this more often because I do feel like it adds a lot of benefit for me in my life to just be able to look back and look at things that I've really enjoyed and haven't enjoyed as much in medical school, and I hope it's provided some value to you guys as well. If it has done, please make sure to leave a like. Make sure you're subscribed as well with notifications on so you never miss another upload. Before you guys leave, here are a bunch of videos on my channel that you can check out, and hopefully they'll add a bunch of value to you as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.